Welcome to this week's edition of the Belau Report. I'm Jane Belau. Our guest, someone very close to us here at RCTC, who is the interim president, and her name is Dr. Mary Davenport, and we welcome you.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
I don't know why it took so long to do a formal interview. Usually it's within the first 6 weeks, but I'm glad we have you, and I wonder if you would introduce yourself to our viewers.
Sure.
And our viewers are from all the regional little cities and some of the big ones and the internet, so we have a huge group of people who follow what we're doing. But tell our viewers about your education and how you happened to come here.
Okay, well, thank you for having me, of course. I grew up in Wisconsin.
There's your camera.
All right. And always wanted to be a teacher. My dad's a teacher. In fact, he's 98 and he's still cutting his own firewood. But he's an educator and said that, suggested I go into something that would have a future in teaching. At the time, there weren't a lot of teaching jobs. So he said history, maybe not, political science, maybe not. And he said, how about home economics? There must be something you're good at there. And so I did that and enjoyed teaching junior high, senior high, and then went into college teaching. And in fact, the previous president of Winona State hired me for my first college teaching job, Darryl Kruger. You might have had him on your show in the past. But I then taught at University of Wisconsin-Stout and at Northeast Missouri State, which is Truman State, and then Colorado State University before coming to Minnesota. So wanted to get back to the Midwest. I love the Midwest, the upper Midwest, and started in Hibbing up on the Iron Range. So worked there and had some successes, and was asked to come to St. Paul to lead a statewide program called Tech Prep, helping high school students see that there are a lot of careers that they can go into that are 2-year degrees that aren't necessarily baccalaureate degrees. They can have good incomes and good job and family lives, and then continue on to get a baccalaureate. So I started that program, worked on that here in Minnesota, and then worked in the system when we merged. So I started in the tech colleges and went to the system and went into this new merged system, and then missed the classroom and missed the college, and went back at St. Paul College, and then went to Riverland College, which is Austin, Albert Lee, and Owatonna, and spent some years there before being called to RCTC on a 2-year interim.
Now, 2 years is as an interim, and they say you can't be a candidate for the permanent job?
Well, the policy is that an interim is not a candidate for the permanent position. And so I signed a 2-year contract, which I'm upholding, and then we'll look at what's next and go through a search process for a permanent president here.
Yeah. Okay. Now, colleges, and particularly community colleges, have been resulting in some lowered enrollment numbers, but RCT is going the other way. Can you tell us about that?
Well, RCTC is a great college, and with Rochester growing to the extent it is, we always want to be serving the new populations that are coming into Rochester. So back in about 2010, when we had the economic downturn, we have the opposite effect in higher ed, that enrollment goes up because people realize they need new skills, different education, more education, and so our enrollment goes up. And then as people get jobs, our enrollment starts to slow down. We have a lot of part-time students, people that will go back to work, but they realize that if they want to advance, they want to stay back in higher education, go part-time. So we have a good mix of full-time students and part-time students here at RCTC, and our enrollment is a little bit down, but pretty much holding stable.
What percent are online students?
Online students is about 20-30%.
Okay.
That's a growing segment,
Yeah.
because we're looking at not just offering classes online, but full programs, so someone can get a certificate or a diploma or even a degree all online.
Right. Now, what's your biggest challenge?
I think one of the biggest challenges is keeping up with technology. We have young people coming in who have a lot of technology skills that are different than technology skills I have. Our faculty work very hard at keeping up. We have a tremendous technology support unit at the college that helps our instructors keep up with technology. We're putting in a new virtual reality lab, and that's a 3D outfit that you put on your head, and you can be taken inside the solar system, inside human blood, as the blood flows through the heart. And I make the joke that you can even be part of the inputs and outputs of the digestive system.
But that's very, very good, though.
Oh,
It's so
yes.
much better than falling behind in the technology area, to be on the cutting edge.
Yes.
And that's remarkable.
This is cutting edge, and it's really immersion, and we're starting that up this fall.
And that also helps with the job situation.
It puts, so say a nurse. If the nurse student is inside our anatomy, they're going to better understand when they have a patient and they're caring for their patient, because they'll understand both internally and externally what's going on.
The Post-Bulletin had a big article about your accreditation, and
Yes.
those who have watched these programs for several years realize how important accreditation is and how difficult it can be. Tell us how you did this.
Sure. We're very proud of the fact that we're what they call reaffirmed. Our accreditation continues, and it really, it was the whole college that what we have to do is demonstrate why we're a quality institution. And it's everybody throughout the college demonstrating that our students are learning. This is how we can prove that they're learning. This demonstrates how our student services serve our students. So we have to do a lot of demonstration and use data, and we have to tell the story. So we did a good job telling the story. I wasn't concerned. I think we just never told the story well, and we really told the story of what we do well this time. And we, in fact, the committee said that we're underestimating ourselves, that we're doing more than we give ourselves credit for in one of their interviews at the end.
Wow.
So I'm just so proud of the faculty and the staff that worked hard.
Now, how long are you accredited for before you have to go through this again?
We go through, we're doing some transitioning. It'll be about 10 years.
Good.
I think it's about 10 years.
That's great.
Yeah. We don't put it on the shelf.
Okay.
So we keep our strategic plan, we work our strategic plan, we add to that different work plans in technology, student services, academic affairs. We're looking at what new programs do we need to start to serve the Rochester area, so that we're always, hopefully, one step ahead of what the community needs.
And you're also partners in the school, are you not, with the STEM program?
Yes, we have a lot of STEM activities. We have the CTEC High School, which is the Career Technical Education High School right here on campus. And then we're working with Winona State so that students can have a high school program, 2 years at RCTC, and continue at Winona. Or we just started dental hygiene with Metro State up in St. Paul, where they can complete their bachelor's degree right here in Rochester and not have to leave their home or families. So we're looking for more of those. Mass communication with St. Cloud State University.
Good. Do you have the majority of your students are looking at what kind of jobs?
We have, we have over 50 programs. And when you look at career and technical education, we have everything from welding, which is high demand, high pay right now, welding, carpentry, But we also have the transfer where a student will earn their associate's degree and transfer on to the baccalaureate. And we've been working hard with the universities in our system so that a student can do 60 credits here and 60 credits at the university and be done on time after 120 credits. So that it's really, they're not having to retake anything or go down a different path. So we're really trying to help families make higher ed affordable by giving real clear pathways and direction for students to come in, get their education, move on if they choose, or get a job.
You know, earlier this summer I happened to be at the Central post-secondary education spot out northwest, and here were the 3- and 4-year-olds taking robotics, engineering as part of the early education. And I thought, what's going to be left when you finish high school if you're taking robotics education as a 3- or 4-year-old?
You know, I think, Jane, that we have to start exposing people to the different kind of jobs we have in our world today younger and younger, so that they get a taste of different things and they can get a passion about what they want to do. And it doesn't hurt that they're exploring at those younger elementary, early childhood ages, because that's how they'll get the ideas and that's how they're going to become the inventors of the future. They get their hands on things young and their brains will go to work.
All right, how big is the school now?
We're serving about 12,000 students and 7,500 full-time when we look at our year. We're growing. We have the credit side and the non-credit side. So while we teach a lot here in our 3 buildings, and also we're doing some things in the high schools, concurrent enrollment in the high schools, but we also serve business and industry in the area directly through our business workforce education, or kind of a customized training format. So a business will say, I need help with succession planning or customer service, and we'll customize some training for their staff directly to meet what they need.
Okay. And then what do your students need the most that they don't have? Is it housing, affordable housing, or what is it?
You know, the financial aid is a big question for a lot of our students, and there's talk of free college education, but that still isn't enough for a lot of our students. They might get some assistance, but food, we put in a food shelf. So we get help, and we're always asking for help from the community to help stock our food shelves. We have one in our main campus building and one at Hines. So students really have hunger issues. They have homeless issues too. So housing issues. We have a great thing with the City of Rochester that we're just starting, and that is that our students can ride the bus for free. So a transportation where housing, we have a parking lot on our far west side that people can come and park in a park and ride and pick up the bus to go downtown. So the savings to our students who are doing clinical experiences downtown at Mayo or other healthcare places, they can ride the bus for free. That's a big cost to our students. So transportation, food, and housing really are big items for our students. There's many who work 1 or more jobs.
Okay. Then do you have a career section where you can help them into jobs as they leave?
We're partnering with the Workforce Center on that because they have a lot of expertise in that area, and they're housed right on our campus. So we work together, we partner on that, so we're not both doing things. We can share our services and serve more people in different ways when we do that together. So we help with job placement, resume writing, interview skills. There's a clothing, kind of a clothing fair that's held in October over in Hines, the Workforce Center hosts, so people can come and get interview clothes.
And I have to ask you about sports because there are so many people who wouldn't forgive me if I didn't, because your teams are doing so well.
Oh, yes, yes.
To what do you attribute that?
We have 10 sports, men's and women's, and I would attribute that to we look at the student holistically. So they're not just athletes, they're student athletes. So our students do as well in their academics as our regular non-athlete student. And our coaches, and we have a new athletic director, they really work with our students, help, mentor, and then the students will do some things around town. They'll do a fundraiser where you can rent a student to help with chores around the house, so they get some community service experience too. But it's really, I think, treating the whole student athlete that makes them successful and develops leadership skills for them too.
But they're doing well in both, right?
Oh yes.
Athletics.
Watch our football team this fall. They're going to be dynamite. They're looking
the
at
the envy of the Vikings, right?
Well, there was a Viking that was a RCTC student.
I know it. All right, tell me about your favorite thing about, what do you think is the greatest about RCTC?
The greatest, well, there are many great things, so that put me on the spot with that one. I would say the connection that our faculty and staff make with our students. They care. They care about our students and will go the extra mile. They'll bring food to the food shelf. They'll spend extra time with our students. There's a lot of mentoring, and that's what helps our students most, is when they make a connection with somebody on campus. And faculty and staff here really do care.
Are you able to keep class sizes reasonably small?
Yes, I'd say we have small class sizes, a lot of individual attention from our faculty in the classes, and we have especially our lab classes, our hands-on classes, we keep those particularly small so that the students really can get the hands-on experiences and have the oversight.
As you know from the history of community colleges and the old alignment of the educational institutions, welding, to hear you say that welding is doing so well, you say that's exactly what we anticipated when they changed to the community college model, that some of these skills that are definitely needed would find their way into the curriculum, and that's good.
Well, part of, too, when we merged, the technical side needs some of the soft skills and the writing skills, the communication skills that the community college offered. So it's really a meeting of the best worlds together, and the student gets the benefit from both the technical side and the soft skills or the general skills that really are necessary, whether you're in automotives or carpentry or welding. Our automotive program just got accreditation.
Yeah.
So they're newly recognized by the auto manufacturers as being a quality automotive program. So we're proud of that.
You missed out on a legislative proposal this year that I see is at the top of the list for next year. Tell our viewers about that and what it would have done for you.
We have a project here at RCTC to demolish one piece of our property and rebuild onto a small section onto our existing property. But the building is so old, it really needs to be replaced. We'll just tear it down. We missed it last session. We've been on the books since 2012 to get that project. We're rated number 3 this year, so I anticipate we'll get that project this year. But it takes the good work of our legislators, and they work hard for us. We got to get that this year.
How much was it?
It was about $20 million for the
and it was
renovation.
through no fault of your own.
No,
it was politics.
It's politics. Yes,
No.
it comes down to that.
I know the backstory, so it was no fault of your own. But hopefully next year we can come in and make up that and whatever else turns out to be on your list for next year.
Right, and I'll thank our legislators now for getting us that this spring and when the session starts.
I asked the question about housing because both in the higher education grades, in K through 12, homelessness is a problem and affordable housing is a problem.
Yeah.
Do you have the kind of problem that we should be building affordable housing for?
I would say yes, definitely. It's an issue for us, and we're not a residential traditional campus like a university is, so we don't have dorms. So then we get a lot of students. Most of our students are from the southeast Minnesota area, but we have a lot of students that come in from outside of that, and they have some difficulties finding affordable housing themselves.
But they're not sleeping in cars? Or
Some are.
Some are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we want to find those students so that we can connect them. There's a number of really good resources throughout Rochester that we can connect them with, and so we work closely with nonprofits and other groups to help our students get what they need.
Okay. Tell us about the theater arts and the fine arts as extracurricular activities.
We have a show opening up today in our art gallery, so invite people to come and look at that. Jerry Casper has been our long-serving theater faculty here, theater instructor. He was on sabbatical last year, and he's back this year, and he's ready to go. And he's been doing some wonderful things in improv and helping businesses understand how improv is a skill with customer service, communications, soft skills. So that's a new little reach for him that he's helping throughout the community on. You probably know he's got improv talent.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm excited about that.
Tell us what you need from the community.
We have a lot of needs. Our students have a lot of needs. We have a program that if a business or industry wishes to donate equipment or money for equipment to support a program, we get a cash match, and that's from the state. So this last year, we brought in over $250,000 in equipment and cash to our programs, and then we got another $250,000 match. So we're always looking for that.
That can be what kind of equipment?
Well, for example, we're getting some heating, air conditioning type equipment for our business utility management or our building utility management program. So the students will use that, but then that program can also buy another piece. So in automotive, they needed a hoist, and so they got some donations, and then they get the cash match to get the hoist. Our students really through scholarships. We have a wonderful foundation. Deb Ward is our new foundation director, and she is reaching out throughout the community looking at student needs. So scholarships are a big part of how we help our students, and we're always looking for, we can establish a scholarship in somebody's name or an organization's name, and have then some ongoing scholarships. We gave over 250 scholarships last year, but we left about another 200 students without. So it's a need that that people are very generous here in the area, especially our alums and others that hire our students. So we're always looking for that help through the foundation in terms of student scholarships.
Now, you share the campus with a number of educational institutions. Mm-hmm. Do you have special arrangements with these schools as to what they can provide for your students?
We have Winona State, for example, on campus, and we've worked with St. Mary's in Augsburg. Winona's our primary partner, and what we look at is what are students wanting to major in, and what does Rochester need? So, for example, business or accounting, we'll offer the first two, and they'll offer the second 2 years of the education. So we're trying to help students stay in their homes and with their families to the extent we can with the offerings. So we'll work on those. We're going to work on a lot more of those pathways, we call them, over the next year, and identify, especially when they can start and finish here.
Now, are you an active member of GROUC?
Yes, I'm a member of GROUC, Yeah, it's an excellent organization. I've been familiar with it for over 20 years in different parts of the state, and I tell you, other parts of the state wish they had a Grouk. They're very supportive of what we do and our mission.
Oh, they are.
And helping us meet the community needs. And they help the community understand who we are and what we offer, and that's been a tremendous partnership. And of course, Don Sapala. I've known Don for a number of years.
Yes, I was going to say, you'll be the first to understand the mission and the purpose of the RCTC.
Yeah.
So, contributed equipment that's matched by the state is one of the things. Money for scholarships. And then how about sponsorships?
Sponsorships and internships. One, especially.
Oh, the internships.
Yes. If a business can open their doors so a student can come and have that work-based experience, that is a tremendous help for the student's learning process. So we look at that. Sponsorships of different events. We have, of course, athletics, as you mentioned, but also academic sponsorships, STEM camps and things like that.
Yeah. I would think this would be a good city for that.
It's a generous city, very generous city.
What is the greatest contribution you made to the workforce in any given area? Is it mostly in the nursing program or the medical assistance program? Would you tell us where the best?
Size-wise and number of graduates. I'm always very proud when I hear that Mayo hires most from RCTC than any other entity. So we are
that's
providing.
Really an endorsement.
Yes, it is. It's quality. We produce a quality graduate, and that's exactly what they're looking for.
Okay.
Yeah, and then of course the other areas. Automotive I mentioned, and so healthcare. We have just wonderful programs. Horticulture has been a long time program here at RCTC.
Isn't that? Yeah. That's great.
And
I don't think people realize, because nobody thinks about it, but RCTC is such a feeder of the workforce and such a well-educated person that jumps into all kinds of different issues and problems. So let's see, individually, what do you hope to accomplish in the next year?
What I've enjoyed most here at RCTC is everybody focusing on the students. And they have, and they'll continue, but I think we need to celebrate it more. I want us to celebrate the accomplishments we have. So again, looking at our foundation, we're trying to find our alum and celebrate where they are, who they are. We don't get those stories as much as we should, I think, in terms of our successes. And really, what's the story of RCTC? What's the story of our students? Because they come with so varied backgrounds. And how do we connect with them? And it's more of a feeling, I think, that I'm looking at here, and I feel it. I feel it. I don't know if everyone does, because we've been in Rochester over 100 years, and sometimes maybe taken a little for granted.
Well, it's programs like this that help you tell things that not many people know, but that are going on as a matter of the day's routine.
Right, yeah. And I'd invite anybody to come over, Jane, and take a look and find me. I'll get them a cup of coffee and we can talk about it.
Yes. Everyone, thank you for joining us, Mary Davenport, Dr. Mary Davenport. And we'll talk to you again in about 6 months.
Okay.
And see how we're progressing.
All right.
And thank you for putting the students first. That's really a big deal.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, our viewers, for being interested in higher education and in particular the Rochester Community and Technical College. And we're pleased to have had their president, with us today, and we'll look forward to revisiting that in the future. Have a very good week. Have a very good night.